it's true.
It's very important that local artists and local musicians support one another.
It's hard to concentrate. The nurse's voice ricochets off the walls and falls like glass. Your room? This is a cell, a bed, a metal locker, looks like a jail, smells like sickness, but you're not sick. You're just tired, so tired. You made a big mistake coming here. Didn't say you'd stay. You failed the test. Did you fail on purpose? Serves you right. Count backward from 100. You can't. You're confused. You're not crazy. You shouldn't be here. You're not like this. You need to make a phone call. The nurse is looking at you from the other side of a telescope. You try to keep your skin on inside your pajamas. And now the nurse is turning. He's got the keys glittering from his waist. He's got the plastic bag with all your things. And he's walking out the door because his shift is over. He gets to go home. And then it's just you, alone on that rigid mattress, staring into midnight, clutching a thin cotton weave blanket. Your bed spins slowly in the darkness. Maybe it's the little pill they deliver to help you fall asleep. Or maybe it's all those hallways and hoops on the way here, but you circle around and up till you touch the cold stars outside the window. Maybe you are the stars, or just the void, the nothing that is thankfully nothing.
Hotel room, Paris. That winter, we lived in a hotel room big enough for a single bed, scarred table, a bowl of plums on the windowsill. And I read Moby Dick over and over as the neighbor's tide of noisy sex washed through the walls. Jetan smoke leaked under the door at night, curled up with a naked light bulb over our bed. Why, after all these years, do I come back to that time? An age when I was an awkward force, moving through the world, bumping my head against all the history and traditions that bogged above me, thinking I could lose the Ahabs and Pequods in a room that married all the strangers who had been there before us. Every one of us thought we were different. Handprints on faded wallpaper, neighbors tapping on thin veneer, laughing, weeping, hallways full of travelers and drunks stammering their way to that single washroom that held the intimate odor of piss and lilac. Tonight, in my mind, I lean on a windowsill in that old hotel with nothing but forgiveness for what haunts us, for what we are driven to hunt down, everything we must leave behind. Beautiful human desire, a handprint on a wall, someone making love, someone looking out toward the bustling street, saying, "Look at this world, just look at it."
I refer fondly to my daughters as first daughter and second daughter, only to myself. I called them this in fun when they were little children, anticipating more children. But when first daughter became a teenager, she stopped laughing and said that the practice was both dehumanizing and demoralizing. First daughter, Julie, traveled in her 20s, moving from job to job, country to country. At one point, she spent 15 months in northern Japan studying flute. On the winter morning I'm about to describe, years after her sojourn in Japan, I phoned Julie in Montreal to tell her that I'd read in the Saturday's paper that a rogue monkey looking for a partner had bitten 23 women in rural northern Japan as they went to work or took out the garbage. I expected that she would laugh. I thought both of us would laugh, then have a warm, chatty, mother-daughter conversation. It was a Sunday before noon, and my husband was away for the weekend. Julie said that 15 years before, when she lived in northern Japan, I'd sent her an article on rogue monkeys who bit women in rural northern Japan. And that not one of the Japanese women she showed it to had heard of such a thing, and that she had told me this at the time. And why was I contacting her again to tell her another rogue monkey in Japan story? She was cross and brushing her teeth as she spoke. She said she was on her way out and she ended the conversation. I had no memory of ever having sent Julie the previous rogue monkey story. I went to the stove, emptied the blue kettle, filled it with cold water from the town, and set it on the front burner on high.
I would like to thank Frontenac House for sponsoring the first place contest, the Alexander Writer Center Society for sponsoring second place, and Carol Mock for sponsoring third, and Shelley McAneely for sponsoring our honorable mention.
As his God holds him. The day my sister had to go to the farm to tell our brother that his daughter had ended her life. She had a hard time getting him off the place. Succeeded at last in taking him home, bathed him herself in her big tub. But still his clothes stank, she said, of rotten eggs and manure and mouse droppings and the barn. Smelled as if they'd been worn and slept in, worn and slept in. We promised our mother we'd look out for this son, who repeatedly turned the world away. But it's been my sister, mostly, who's kept the vow. 3 months later, I walked in the long farm lane through deep snow, remembering the man who once sired a family of 5, provided, sang at the piano with the rest of us, recited Shakespeare till the last log burned down. When I've passed through the stench of the outer porch, passed by the unemptied chamber pot in the back kitchen, and slid open the door to the big kitchen, I'm hit by a wall of heat, the wood stove blazing one of the heavy lids off. Above the hole, his hand, a mouse, he holds it by the tail. It is not dead, its small feet paw the shimmering air above the flames.
Carmine Starnino is an intimate man, soft-spoken and contemplative. He thinks with you while he's talking. Sometimes he just taps the table gently with his fingers, pausing and looking down as if the answer is just under the table's surface. Those who give me tips about teaching tell me people who do that look down, let the silence fill between you and them, as they begin to answer your question, are taking stock and then sorting out all the aspects of an idea before they speak. Feelings, thoughts, memories. I know Carmine is looking into his inner library as well. He visited my class as part of his writer-in-residency at Mount Royal, and sharing the same kind of up-closeness with them, he talked about the solitude of writing, how a poet has to navigate that solitude in order to do the work. My students loved him for being such an accomplished poet who could share that much of his private self. It made them feel stronger by letting them feel less alone.
Issue of our 20th year, that we can make you laugh, we can make you cry, we can make you think, we can make you drink.
I'm just swampland, mud, milk, and toads. I am not a river if there is no flow.